On this episode, I want to give you a warning. I want to give you a warning to be careful, Minnesota Vikings fans, because right now we are going through a storm of narratives that can so easily change in a matter of a week, in a matter of 2 weeks. We see this happen every single year in the NFL. And now the Minnesota Vikings are a part of it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing because it means that your team is winning games. But what it means is something that you need to be aware of. It's something that you need to recognize, which is the exact definition of awareness. It is something that we just need to be cognizant of, which is the exact definition of awareness and recognition. Because if you're not, then things are going to turn on their head and things are going to get disastrous and you're going to be shocked. So this is one of my biggest pet peeves in the NFL. And it happens every single year. It happens so quickly, so rapidly, because it's the newest thing. And what is the newest thing? Well, the newest thing is the sexy narrative. The newest thing is what's happening now, what's happening suddenly. And right now, the Minnesota Vikings are that right now in the NFL. They're a part of it. The Texans are a part of it. The Chiefs aren't really a part of it because they've been it for the last 2, 3, 4 years. So it's not really a shock for them. But it was a thing that happened to the Philadelphia Eagles last year. Remember the Eagles last year? They were undefeated maybe through 10, 11 games. And everyone's talking about, could they go undefeated? Could they be the team this year? Could they, be the team that never loses a regular season game and goes all the way to the Super Bowl? They're saying the same thing for the 49ers as well. It's like, is this going to be the first 17-0 team in the regular season and forever? And then they lose a bunch of games. The Eagles did, at least. And everything came off. The lid came off. The organization went crazy. They lost a bunch of games to teams that they shouldn't have lost to, like the Arizona Cardinals last year. And then everyone's, what's wrong with the Eagles? They lost it. No one's picking them to win the Super Bowl. There's something dysfunctional about that team. It's like narrative shifts so quickly. And then they bring on players when you're winning. They bring on the players. Like I saw Harrison Smith on the NFL Insider show the other day on the NFL Network. And they're asking them questions like, well, we're just working as a team. We're just disciplined. And, we're just coming together as a group to prepare and to plan. And we're playing with our hearts and blah, 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 yada, 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 this, that, this, that, this, that. And that's why we're winning games. Those things help to win games. There's no doubt about it. Coming together as a team, believing in one another, being disciplined, that's all a part of it. But every single team, every single player says the exact same thing. There's something more than just that. That's a part of winning. But what helps is your quarterback playing the best football he's ever played in his entire career. Your wide receiver 1 playing sensational and being healthy, even without wide receiver 2 for most of, or at least half of game 1 and all of game 2. It helps that the Minnesota Vikings defense has just been lights out and no other opposing offensive coordinator or other team has figured it out yet. Scheme, playmaking. Those are the things that are making the Minnesota Vikings win right now, and coming together as a team is a part of it. But what's inevitably going to happen is when the Minnesota Vikings lose, because they're not going to go undefeated, I'm sorry about that, when they lose this season and go on a losing streak, lose maybe 1, 2, 3 games in a row, because the Vikings are not an unstoppable force in the NFC, then everyone's going to be like, what's wrong with the Vikings? Kevin O'Connell can't coach. What's wrong with KOC? That was a stupid play call. This team sucks. This is a disaster. How could I ever believed in this team? And then the NFL media is going to go against the Vikings too. Oh, what's wrong with Sam Darnold? I told you he couldn't play. He bounced around for 4 teams at 4 different locations. And, they beat the Giants, but it was just a shocker that they beat the 49ers and blah, 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 this, that. We need to be careful right now because we are in the storm of great narratives. There is a wave right now happening of teams talking about just how sensational the Minnesota Vikings are. And they've been great. They've been complimentary of Brian Flores' scheme, Sam Darnold's sensational play, Kevin O'Connell's play calling, and just how unstoppable or how consistent the Vikings have looked this year. And then they're going to lose. And then you're going to hear silence. Or you're going to hear reaction like, well, this, that. So the narrative's going to shift eventually this season. And you've got to be careful. You've got to ride the medium. Don't drive in the fast lane, calling the Vikings Super Bowl contenders. Don't drive in the slow lane, calling the Minnesota Vikings pretenders yet. You don't have to say that yet. You can drive in the middle. They're playing really good football. They're playing out of their minds. But there will be a day when they lose some games. And right now, they are better than anyone expected that they would be, including the betting markets that had them set at 6.5 wins this season. So ride the medium. Be careful, Minnesota Vikings fans. This is my warning to you because it's coming when the Vikings lose. And that narrative's going to shift. And then you're going to fall into the trap of, Kevin O'Connell sucks. Sam Darnold sucks. The Vikings defense sucks. Just got to be careful. Can't let your emotion get ahead of you. Got to think. This is my warning to you.